Hi, everybody. Thanks for jumping on. And I'm just going to get right into it. I'm here with Vistage Chair, Heatherann Antonacci out of Florida. Heather, can you hear me okay?
I can, Paul. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. I know you're very busy, and of course, all of us are dealing with the health crisis that's going on right now. But on a positive note, I want to talk about podcasting because, you know, I love podcasting. It's a great way to get, your message out there, and you are doing some great things in the podcasting space. And I
Thank you.
just wanted to get your thoughts, as we've been working together on podcasting and you just have embraced it 100%, is love your input. Is how's it working for you and what are you experiencing?
So it's working great. And thank you for the opportunity really to talk about it because it's something that is brand new to me, in the world of technology. And I am having the opportunity to meet people. And of course, not in a face-to-face, but in a virtual face-to-face way, and just learn more about the business owners and the leaders here in my local community. It's been a great opportunity to hear the history, of their organizations and, where they started, where they are now. And I think it brings, without being face-to-face, it just brings more of a personal feeling to it. We're also having some fun with it. I have interviewed individuals in their home office. I interviewed an individual, as recent as last week who actually was in a recording studio. And I told him, I said, wow, I go, it looks like you're in a, like a professional recording studio. And we did the interview. It's just having a lot of fun. It really is.
As long as they're not in their pajamas in their home office.
Yeah, no pajamas. We set limits before we start recording. But no, seriously, it has been a great way to get to know a lot more about the business leaders and some industries that I am completely unfamiliar with. But hearing their stories and their success, and then they can share that. And then, of course, I share that with the business owners and the executives that I come into contact with. And I think it's just building that community. And now in this environment of crisis that we're in,
Right.
I think really that's what it's about. It's about building community. It's about support. So, any way I think that we can connect business owners to each other, I think is a great thing. And this just, timing is everything. Who knew this was going to happen? But this has been a great way to keep those connections going.
Yeah, and the idea is, you and I have talked a lot offline, is you just want to be, you're doing great work with owners and executives of companies, and the idea is you want to have discussions with others and to engage with them. And the podcasting tool is a great channel to have discussions and get in front of people. They learn about you, you learn about them. And so, and you're zooming it, right? So you're doing Zoom videos for these?
Yes, using Zoom video for the podcast.
Right. Yeah. And then those podcast sessions go out and again to your community who you're nurturing. So they're seeing that you're in touch with others. And I think it's just, there's a lot of benefit that comes out of it.
There is, and certainly for me, it's expanding my network. It's helping me, brand and establish myself, as far as what I'm doing and the business owners I'm trying to reach. But then it does the same thing for the person that I'm interviewing.
Right. Yeah.
It allows them the opportunity, to use the audio or use the video or both or however they want to use it. It's a professionally edited video, an audio component, and they can use it to brand and they can use it to, do some outreach too. So
Absolutely. How long
it
are you
really is a
spending?
win-win.
How long are you spending on it? How long does it usually last when you're having a discussion?
So the recording part of it is about 15 minutes or so. Typically, I will spend about 45 minutes to an hour with the person I'm interviewing. If it's the first time that I've met them, and for some of them it is, we take about that first 20 minutes or so, really just to introduce ourselves to each other, and I've done some research ahead of time on their business, but really just to hear their point of view on their business and, kind of what they're doing in their journey. And then, we just talk about, again, we start with, their journey. We've changed the conversation a little bit lately, like I said, last week, just given the current, environment, we're talking about what's your biggest challenge right now? There are lots of challenges out there, but what's your biggest business challenge right now? Where do you see the company 6 months from now? So it's changed a little bit, which I like. I like the flexibility of the podcast because
Right.
you can make it very relevant to the current environment.
Yeah, for sure.
So I really love that about it. But yeah, we go through kind of like a pre-interview. And I'll tell you something that I've started doing that I'm having a lot of fun with is I've ended the podcast by asking the individual I'm interviewing, and I'll ask you, Paul, if you could make up a leadership advisory council that was specific to you, and you could only have 3 individuals on this council, and they can't be fictitious characters. They can be alive or they can be deceased, but who would you choose and why? And I'm getting very interesting responses from people I'm interviewing. And
What a phenomenal question. You just decided to do that kind of just where did that come from?
So in a previous life, when I would hire for our executive leadership team, that is a question that I would ask all of the candidates who came down to the final interview. And it was really just to kind of get a feel for who inspired them in terms of leadership and why. And I would get everything from, my father to Gandhi to, Steve Jobs. I mean, it was just, all over the place.
Yeah.
So I started using that on my podcast. Now, I do tell the person, again, ahead of time when we're doing that pre-interview, spending about 20 minutes, I do tell them that I'm going to ask them the question. Because if you're not prepared for it, that's a tough question to just kind of,
Right.
come up with 3 people. But yeah, and like I said, it just adds something to it that I think is pretty unique.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I think it's a great idea. Well, Heatherann, this has been great. I want to keep this short. I know, you're very busy, so great input. I hope people watching this get some value out of understanding the podcast channel is just a dynamic way to engage with people that you're interested in, want to work with. So thank you so much, Heatherann.
Yeah, thank you. It's been my pleasure. I really appreciate everything you're doing.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Paul.
All right.